Have you ever noticed how much effort goes into being desired? How much time, energy, and thought is spent on conforming, attracting, and holding attention? Makeup, clothes, the right words, the necessary smile, the art of touch. The world teaches us that male desire is a reaction to external stimuli, to what can be seen, heard, felt by the skin. But what if all of this is just a surface layer, just a prelude to something far more powerful and deafening? What if there is something that excites a man more strongly than any, even the most skillful touches, but almost no woman knows about it? It is not a technique, not a secret trick, not a pose or a phrase. It is a state that a woman attains not for a man, but for herself. And it is this paradox, this shift of focus from him to herself, that releases energy of such power that it literally drives mad those who touch it. Carl Jung, a researcher of the darkest and deepest wells of the human soul, discovered this principle, a principle that modern culture of consumption and fast relationships diligently ignores. Because it is not for sale, it cannot be bought, packaged, or simulated. It can only be lived. Jung spoke of the existence in the unconscious of every man of an inner image of a woman, the anima. This is not just a fantasy. It is his soul, his bridge to the world of feelings, intuition, to life itself. And when a man meets a woman, he unconsciously seeks in her a reflection of this inner, ideal, almost divine part of himself. He is looking for more than just a body. He is looking for confirmation of the existence of his soul in the flesh. And here the greatest misconception occurs. Most women, sensing this unspoken request, start to play a role. They try to guess what they should be: caring, sexual, mysterious, understanding. They create an artful mask, a persona, hoping that this mask is what he is looking for. But the man, at a deep, animal level, senses the falsehood. He might enjoy the game, he might desire the body, but his soul remains untouched. He does not go mad, he merely consumes. But there is another type of woman, a woman who has stopped playing, a woman who has embarked on a journey not to the man, but deep within herself. She has descended into her own basements, faced her fears, integrated her shadow. She has stopped seeking external approval because she has found the source within. And at this moment, an alchemical transformation occurs with her. She no longer tries to be a reflection of his anima. She becomes her own soul, manifested in the world. And this is what drives men mad. When a man encounters such a woman, his internal compass breaks. His unconscious recognizes in her not just a beautiful shell, but a living, breathing, sovereign force. A force that does not try to please him, a force that simply is. Her presence excites him at a level he cannot control or explain. It is not lust. It is awe. It is reverence for life in its purest, untamed form. Her silence stirs him more strongly than the most explicit words. Her independent gaze penetrates deeper than the most intimate touches. Because he senses before him is not one who wants to be taken, but one who can either let him into her world or leave him at its threshold. And this freedom of choice, this internal wholeness, is the most powerful aphrodisiac known to mankind. This is what glossy magazines do not write about. It is a secret that the soul recognizes in silence, not in the noise of advice. Think about it. How many times have you tried to be perfect? How many times have you adapted, guessed, tried to be convenient, interesting, indispensable? All this work was directed outward. You built a facade, polished it to a shine, decorated it with garlands. But you forgot about who lives inside that house. And a man, even the most insensitive, always subconsciously seeks not the house, but the mistress of the house. He seeks her energy, her light, her mystery. Carl Jung would call this process that a woman undergoes individuation, the path to becoming oneself, whole and indivisible. And this path often begins with disillusionment in superficial connections. When a woman realizes that all the games, all the tricks, all the attempts to manipulate male desire bring only temporary results and leave emptiness behind, she grows tired of being an object and instinctively begins to seek the path to becoming the subject of her own life. This path is not strewn with roses. It requires solitude. It requires honesty with oneself. It requires facing those parts of herself that she has hidden even from herself for so long. Her anger, her selfishness, her wildness, her vulnerability. Jung called this the encounter with the shadow. And as long as a woman fears her shadow, she cannot be whole. She will always be a half, looking for the other half to feel complete. And a man senses this. He feels her need, her hunger, her lack. And this might evoke in him a desire to care for or to use, but not a maddening awe. Awe is born only in the face of wholeness. When a man sees a woman who is comfortable with herself, a woman whose happiness does not depend on his call, whose self-esteem does not fluctuate with his mood, whose world does not collapse if he leaves, this woman becomes a mystery to him, not a flirtatious, feigned mystery, but a real existential one. He looks at her and does not understand where she gets so much strength, where this quiet confidence comes from, where this light in her eyes comes from, which he did not ignite. And he begins to be drawn to her, like a magnet, because she embodies what he himself lacks. She embodies connectedness to the soul. He, living in a world of logic, achievement, and external goals, sees in her a portal to another world, the world of feelings, intuition, being. She does not tell him about it. She simply lives this way. And her being becomes the most powerful drug for him. Stronger than sex, stronger than flattery, stronger than any touch. What is this state? Let's break it down. The first is emotional sovereignty. This is when her emotional state belongs to her. She does not hand over the remote control of her mood to someone else. She can be happy next to him and sad without him, but her basic state of equilibrium does not depend on his presence or absence. She is her own support. A man accustomed to being either a savior for the fragile or a conqueror for the unattainable is lost before a woman who does not need to be saved or conquered. She simply is. And this disrupts all his usual scenarios. He does not know how to be with her, and this not knowing, this challenge, excites him. The second is connectedness to her shadow. She does not try to be a good girl. She knows that there is both light and darkness in her. She accepts her anger, her jealousy, her strength. She does not suppress these energies, but uses them. Her no sounds as confident as her yes. She is not afraid of conflict if it is necessary to defend her boundaries. The man feels this internal honesty. He understands that he cannot play by the rules of hypocrisy with her. She sees right through him, and this ability of hers to see, not judging, but simply stating, disarms and at the same time incredibly excites him. He realizes that next to her, he too can be real. The third is the absence of need. This is arguably the most important. A woman who has walked the path to herself does not need a man to survive. She wants him. And the difference between needing and wanting is an abyss. Need comes from lack, from a hole inside that needs to be plugged by someone. Wanting comes from abundance, from a fullness that she wants to share. A man, like any living creature, runs from hunger and is drawn to abundance. When he senses that the woman is not trying to be satiated by him, but is inviting him to share her feast, his instincts scream, "This is it!" He goes crazy not because of what he can get from her, but because of who he can become next to her. Understand this even more deeply. The modern world has turned relationships into a market. Female beauty and youth have become currency. Male success and status are similar assets. Everything has turned into an unconscious transaction, a trade. You give me, I give you. This invisible accounting poisons everything, generating anxiety, competition, and the feeling that you are just a commodity that must prove its value. And a woman who has undergone the path of individuation simply exits this game. She stops being a market participant. She is not for sale. Her value is not determined by demand, she simply is. And when a man who is up to his ears in this market race meets her, he experiences shock. He is used to evaluating, negotiating, conquering, but here it does not work. She does not play by these rules. And her refusal to play is not a tactic to raise her price. It is her nature. She is outside the system. And this realization that before him is not another asset, but something authentic, alive, and absolutely free. That is what breaks him internally and makes his soul tremble. Jung would say that such a woman activates in a man not only his anima, but also his hero archetype, but not in the primitive sense of slaying a dragon, rather in the sense of embarking on the most important journey to his own soul. Next to such a woman, a man feels an unconscious call to become better, deeper, stronger. She does not demand it. She simply shows by her existence that it is possible. She becomes his silent challenge, and this challenge excites his intellect, his spirit, his will. It is a total excitement that affects all his levels, not just physiology. Moreover, understand more deeply why this works so flawlessly. A man, especially in the modern world, also lives in the prison of his persona, a mask of strength, control, logic, and steadfastness. He has been trained from an early age to suppress his feelings, his vulnerability, his need for warmth. His shadow is his own weakness, his fears, his doubts. And when he meets a woman who is not afraid of her shadow, who is whole in her strength and vulnerability, she unconsciously gives him permission to do the same. Her wholeness is the key to his own prison. He looks at her and sees not just a desired object, but a living embodiment of the freedom he has denied himself. This excitement is not from possessing her, but from the anticipation of liberating himself next to her. Her presence is silent psychotherapy for him. He does not realize it, but next to her, his own defense walls begin to crack, and through these cracks, the light of his own forgotten soul shines through. This is why the dependence on such a woman becomes existential. She is not just pleasure, she is the path to himself. Look at it from another angle. Society has built a trap for women. It said, be sexual, and men will be at your feet. And women spend years honing the art of seduction. They learn to move, to speak, to touch. But this is a path to nowhere, because by concentrating on the body, they lose connection with the soul. And the secret is that only spiritualized sexuality is truly irresistible. Sexuality that comes not from the desire to please, but from the joy of being in one's own body. A woman who has found herself enjoys her life. She savors it. She finds pleasure in eating. She finds work interesting. She is joyful walking alone in the rain. She is full. And when a man sees this fullness, he wants to touch it. Not the body, but this state. He wants to taste this life of hers. He wants to be infected by this joy of hers. Touches become only a consequence, only a way to come into contact with this inner energy of hers. They are not the goal, but a bonus. That is why men often lose their minds over women who, it would seem, do not meet beauty standards. Over women who are strange, inconvenient, too smart, or too independent. Because these women, often against social pressure, manage to preserve or find a connection with themselves. They did not squander their energy on trying to fit into a mold. They spent it on building their own world. And there is nothing more sexual and exciting than the possibility of being invited into someone else's rich and self-sufficient world. How does one achieve this state? The path is not easy, but it is worth it. The first step is to stop searching. Stop searching for love, approval, attention. Instead, start giving all of that to yourself. Praise yourself, spoil yourself, spend time with yourself, get to know yourself. This is not selfishness. It is creating a foundation. You cannot build a solid house on a swamp. You cannot build a healthy relationship without having a healthy relationship with yourself. The second step is to walk into your fear. What are you most afraid of? Being alone? Being misunderstood? Appearing bad? It is precisely there, behind this fear, that your strength is hidden. Jung taught that what we avoid controls us. Go towards your fear. Live through it. Allow yourself to be alone and discover that it is not fatal. Allow yourself to say no and see that the world has not collapsed. Allow yourself to express anger and feel how liberating it is. The third step is to cultivate your inner life. Find what nourishes your soul, not your ego. Books, music, nature, creativity, meditation. Anything that helps you hear your inner voice. The richer and more interesting your inner world is, the less dependent you are on the external, and the more magnetic you become. People are drawn to light, and light comes from within. And how will you know that you are on the right path, that the alchemy within you has begun? Subtle but unmistakable signs will appear. The quality of silence around you will change. Before, it was an awkward, frightening emptiness that you wanted to fill with music, conversation, anything. Now, silence will become your friend, your sanctuary. You will begin to seek it, enjoy it, draw strength from it. Your no will become pure. It will cease to be accompanied by guilt, long justifications, and anxiety. It will become simply a statement of your limit, calm and unbreakable, like a rock. You will begin to notice that the right people, books, and opportunities appear in your life as if by themselves, without effort. Jung called this synchronicity, meaningful coincidences that indicate you are moving in agreement with your soul. These are the signs. The universe begins to speak to you because you have finally learned to listen. When a woman steps onto this path, strange things begin to happen to her. Men who previously did not notice her suddenly start to. Those who only saw her as a friend begin to look with interest, and those who tried to use her disappear because her new energy is unbearable for them. She becomes a filter for her environment. Her presence in a room changes the atmosphere. She can simply be silent, but this silence will be more weighty than someone else's loud speeches. She does not try to impress. Her being is already an impression. A man who finds himself next to her feels this on a subconscious level. He may not understand what is happening, but he feels the change in the field. He feels that next to her, the air becomes denser, time flows differently, and his own thoughts and feelings become clearer. This happens because she has become a mirror, but not the distorted mirror that reflects what they want to see, but a clear, even mirror that reflects the truth. Next to her, a man sees not only her, but himself, his true self, with all his fears, hopes, strength, and weakness. And this encounter with himself, provoked by her presence, is the deepest intimate experience he can have, much more intimate than sex. Here it is important to understand the difference between a woman who uses her body and a woman who inhabits it. The first perceives the body as a tool, as currency, as a weapon to achieve a goal, to gain attention, to hold it, to prove her worth. Her movements are learned, her sexuality is a performance. A man can desire this body, he can possess it, but he can never touch the one pulling the strings. The second woman does not use her body, she lives in it. Her body is an extension of her soul. Her gestures are organic. Her sexuality is not an action, but a property, like the fragrance of a flower. It simply is. A man cannot possess such a woman. He can only be invited into her presence, honored to witness her dance. And this desire to be allowed in, rather than to possess, is 1,000 times stronger and deeper. Sex with such a woman is a whole other story. It is not a sport, not a release of tension, and not the fulfillment of marital duty. It is a ritual. It is a merging not only of bodies but of souls, because she is totally present in the process. She does not think about how she looks or what he will think of her. She just is. She enjoys. She gives herself over to the process rather than trying to control it. And this totality of hers, this freedom in the manifestation of her nature, removes all chains from the man. Next to her, he can be wild, tender, vulnerable, strong. He can be anything. He can be himself. And this liberation he experiences next to her binds him stronger than any chains. But here is the main secret. She does not do it for him. She does it for herself. She enjoys being this way. She enjoys being free, total, real. The man is merely the one who happened to be nearby and was lucky enough to witness this dance of life, a dance that she dances for herself. Remember the women who inspire admiration. The real ones, not the Instagram versions. Actresses, writers, artists, perhaps your own grandmother or teacher. What was it about them? Most likely not perfect looks, but a certain inner strength, a spark in their eyes, a sense of self-worth. Wholeness, that is it. That is the energy that has no expiration date and does not depend on fashion. It is the energy of the soul. Men do not go crazy over long legs or big breasts. Those are just eye candy that quickly becomes boring. They go crazy over the feeling of life that a woman radiates, over her zest for life, over her ability to be happy without any visible reason. over her mystery, which lies not in her hiding something, but in her inner world being infinitely deep. Jung would say that the modern world suffers from the loss of soul. We have all become functions, not people. We try to be efficient, successful, productive. And in this race, we lose touch with something important. A woman who restores this connection becomes an oasis in the desert. A man exhausted by this meaningless race instinctively gravitates towards this oasis. He wants to drink from this source. He wants to simply sit in the shade of this tree and rest his soul. That is why her presence is more important than touches. Touches are an effect on the body, but her presence is an effect on the soul. The body can be excited without her, but the soul, only another soul can touch the soul. Therefore, if you truly want to drive men mad, forget everything you have been taught. Stop trying to be attractive. Start being alive. Stop searching for love. Start radiating it. Stop adapting to the man. Start building your own world and invite him in as a guest. This path is not for everyone. It requires courage. The courage to be alone for a time. The courage to be misunderstood. The courage to lose those who were only with you because you were convenient. But the reward for this path is priceless. You gain not just a man who is crazy about you. You gain yourself. And when you gain yourself, the whole world starts to go crazy for you. Because there is nothing more beautiful and exciting than a human being living in complete harmony with their soul. This energy, this vibration, is felt at a distance. It manifests in how you walk, how you talk, how you are silent. Your body becomes not just a set of functions, but the temple of your soul. And every movement, every look, every touch is filled with this inner light. You stop being just a woman. You become a phenomenon of nature. Like a thunderstorm, like the ocean, like the sunrise, something to be only revered, something that cannot be controlled, something that evokes a sacred awe. And when a man says he is crazy about such a woman, he is not exaggerating. His rational mind truly shuts down. He stops understanding what is happening. He simply feels this irresistible pull, this almost mystical connection. He is ready to follow her to the ends of the earth. Not because she is manipulating him, but because next to her, he feels more alive than ever. She awakens his own soul. Here it is, the truth hidden behind tons of seduction advice. True excitement is not a product of technique. It is the resonance of souls. And for your soul to begin to resonate, it must sound. And for it to sound, you must give it a voice. You must allow it to be, with all its darkness and light. With all its strength and vulnerability. Stop trying to be the woman of his dreams. Become the woman of your own. And then you will see that he could not even dream of a woman like you. Because your reality will surpass all his wildest fantasies. Your presence will become the strongest drug for him. Your absence, the greatest torture, and your touch, when it finally happens, will be for him not just physical contact, but a divine revelation. Because it will not just be a body touching him, it will be life itself touching him. This is a journey that begins with a simple decision, to choose yourself, not against him, but for yourself. And the moment you make this choice, something shifts in the universe. You stop being a petitioner and become the source, and then rivers will flow to you, and men will go crazy not because of what you do, but because of who you are. And if this message has found you, if something inside you has quietly resonated with these words in recognition, it means your soul is already ready. It is already tired of games. It already craves truth. It is already calling you home, to yourself. Do not ignore this call. It is the most important call in your life. This is not just information. It is an invitation to the most exciting journey imaginable, a journey to your true strength, to your authentic beauty, to your boundless soul. If you feel that this is the beginning of something important, do not keep it to yourself. Share this revelation with another woman who might also be seeking this path. Leave a comment. Tell us which thought touched you the most. Subscribe to this channel to continue this immersion together. Here we do not teach techniques. We awaken souls. Because an awakened woman is the greatest force in the universe. A force that truly drives men mad. in the very best sense of the word.